Hello, I am Jan from Prague, the Czech Republic, and today we are checking out a truly special device, the Leitzphone. It's essentially an enhanced version of the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, bearing the famous German Leica name. We will explore what makes it so unique, specifically this incredibly useful control ring and the premium build. But we will also test the major highlights of the Xiaomi 17 Ultra generation, including the 1-inch sensor and the brand new telephoto lens with both variable aperture and focal length. And let's jump directly to the streets of Prague and let's test this mobile phone. So what really makes the big difference is the control ring. By default, it helps you to zoom in, zoom out, and it really helps you a lot. If you want, you can control many other parameters. We'll get to it soon. We should not forget that still there are two essential pillars of what makes this phone extremely interesting. First would be so-called 1-inch sensor, and it has a really big physical size. So the quality of shots is just really incredible. And you can see, by the way, another part of the Leica logic encoded into this phone, which are these filters. Again, there are so many different filters, but if you are a Leica user, you know all of them because they are being used in the famous cameras as well. So you see a couple of examples here from the main lens, main sensor. If you want to have a full coverage, please do check my review of Xiaomi 17 Ultra, where you find dozens of test photos and many more details. And then we have the telephoto lens, and it's really extremely interesting because it's really new. It has variable focal length and variable aperture. It means that you are capable of optical zooming from 75 to 100 millimeters. I'll show you some examples, but first let me jump to thing which I really found extremely interesting, because you are able to use that sensor up to 200 megapixels, and it does indeed make sense, as you can see from these examples, because once I do it, you really got incredibly high quality of the shots. I am really cropping that shot, and if I go there and I crop it even more and even more, the level of details is really extreme. It's amazing, thanks not only to electronics, but of course thanks to the Leica's lenses. One more crop to the windows of the Prague Castle. One more example, because I was really impressed by the optics. So we can zoom and you can even see the faces of the people. Once more, we are really in a big distance, but still the lens and the sensor are able to deliver amazing results. And yes, then we have the third lens, third sensor. It's ultra-wide lens, but we won't go into details because please do watch my full coverage of this mobile phone and the review of Xiaomi 17 Ultra. But if we now go back to the unique features of Leitzphone, we should obviously go to the control ring, to the camera ring. I already mentioned the key function out of the box would be you are just rotating the ring and you're able to zoom in and zoom out, and it's amazing. I have to say, I got used to it within a couple of seconds. So yes, it's amazing. But let's go into the menu, and you clearly see that there are so many other options you are able to use this camera ring for. I guess the most important one would be this camera ring features. If you click it, you are able to redefine, reset what does the control ring do. For instance, in video, the default version is that it makes the shot lighter or darker, so it's set to EV. But if I would like to use it for zooming, like in the case of the still photography, I can do it. Now it's set to zooming in, zooming out, and yes, I can do it, of course. Once we are testing all this, let's test one more important feature of the telephoto lens, which is, yes, indeed, zooming. With the optical zoom, we are able to go from 75 up to 100, which is pretty decent. But if we want, we can go up to 120 times zoom, which obviously is a deep digital zoom. But if we see these examples, you can see that we are able to get really extremely good quality from the digital zoom. Again, I would not be using this in the real life, but, well, it's quite impressive. The weather in Prague was really terrible, so probably the worst day for testing any camera this winter, but still, pretty good results here. Yes, photographing Prague also is an extreme task, but birds in that sort of 20 or 30 times, it's not that bad at all, and I was again quite impressed by what the digital zoom can deliver. Some examples here. Of course, if you are a wildlife photographer, you would not like these, but again, I mean, the distance is really big, and once again, if you want a proof that the optics and electronics really work great, here we go. Here are really great results of digital zooming. And of course, indeed, this is a Leica, so you will find anything you would be dreaming about. You're able to, of course, set up shooting up to 200 megapixels. We already seen it. You're able to set shooting to RAW, which again is something which is not that common in Android phones, but it works great here. And of course, there are many filters, many options of what to do during shooting with the photo. So here again, some examples of the streets of Prague, and I am not a big fan of all these things, but I have to admit that yes, this is quite interesting, and all these options we have are quite nice, whether we are speaking about colors or black and white. One more example from my favorite bar in the downtown Prague, again testing the filters, testing the variations of colors and tones, and yes, I have to say I'm quite impressed with colors or with the black and white once more. By the way, if you want to play even more during using portrait mode, you have that amazing simulations which are trying to simulate the famous lenses of Leica, but I would not be using that, but maybe you might find it interesting. And finally, let's do a big jump in time, because this is the moment when I got the box and I decided to open it. So let's unbox it. Let's see what is inside. Let's be careful. And here we go. Here is the phone. So let's pull it up from these protective covers, and here it is. And the first thing I was trying to do was to rotate the control camera ring, because it's a great tool, and from the very first second I was playing with this, I knew this is going to be really interesting testing. So thank you so much for your attention. Take care. I am Jan from Prague, the Czech Republic.